Peace to the planet Earth. We are back with another episode of Mo Life. We are in the building. First and foremost, man, shout out to everybody that's here on the platform. Shout out to my wonderful co-host, Monique Yesenia. Anybody, make sure you lock in with the real ones. I definitely got to give my people the roses, not just Mo. Shout out to my brother Willie Brown, man, that definitely gave me a call earlier. And always paying homage to all the family members, the support teams, help organizations, everybody that's a part of the process, just helping push the conversation, get people home and in mass incarceration as a whole. Mo, I know you on mute right now, but once you get off mute, how you feeling today, Mo?
I'm doing great. Hi, everybody. I'm doing good. Life is great. I'm breathing. I'm walking. I'm on this platform. And I'm ready for this interview. And thank you for everybody that's tuning in or will be tuning in. We appreciate you.
Who we got? You say, well, you ready for the interview? Who we got today?
We have the incredible Marcus Harvin. Real quick with just a little real quick recap of Mr. Marcus, Mr. History Maker himself. He's about to come on. I'm big on allowing people to tell their own story, so I'm going to allow him to speak. I'm going to allow him to tell his story, and y'all just give him a lot of love because this man has been through a lot. The story of his redemption is incredible. He's a great man. He's a sweetheart, and I'm so in love with this story. I really am. I'm so in love with this story.
What drew you to it? Not to put you on the spot.
When I first seen the pictures, I was like, what's going on here? Because, everybody's graduating and, so my timeline is consistently flooded.
Right.
Graduation pictures and stuff like that, and I get all giddy and smiley and everything because everybody's graduating. It's so beautiful to see these pictures. Right. So I seen this. I said, oh wait, this is a little different. Then I seen the caption and everything. I was like, wait, hold on. And when I went into the pictures, I started crying because I'm a big crybaby. Right. And I started to just oh my gosh, visualize really what he's went through and how did he get here and all of these things. And then I researched him and all of this stuff. And I was like, you know what, let me reach out to him. And we've been in contact the last probably 2 weeks or whatever. And he's so sweet. He's such a sweetheart. And I'm so glad he accepted this interview. I feel so blessed because everybody's hitting him up. And he's on our podcast today.
Definitely excited. Hey, I want to take we definitely chopped it up about something. We know he's a good guy. And for me, I want to say this: the reason I'm drawn to the story, I'm always excited to meet people that push the boundaries, that show that impossible doesn't exist. that aren't really limitations, and that you can take back your story. You can rewrite the narrative. You can keep going. But for anybody that may not see his story like that, I'm gonna segue to that really quick because I know I can only imagine. I not to his level. I was on the news too, and I remember when my story was out there about me being a principal down here in Atlanta. It wasn't always positive feedback.
Positive, right?
It was a lot of positive feedback, a lot of love, but there was some negative. Before he hops up here, do we want to address anybody? Is there any negative, anything, what do we say to those that might see his story, anything other than, what it is? And that's a positive thing.
Well, if the audience knows me, and I know many of you know me for my work and what I do, I'm a prison coach. I am a former advocate for the wrongly convicted and those who've been sentenced harshly. I've been in the game for 12 years, teaching in prisons. I am a reentry coach. As many of you know, that's how I met Chris Life. That's how I met him in prison. And I was teaching and I'm a coach and all of that. One thing Chris will tell you is I'm very protective of returning citizens. Very protective. So I do see comments out there that I don't like. I do see racists out there. Don't like that. We are all aware of his charges and what he went to prison for. This man has suffered enough. His children have suffered enough. His mom, his family has suffered enough. Please stop it. And my question to all of you is, what have you done that we don't know about? His is public.
Indeed.
Stop trying to drag this man because he's successful. He is a king, whether you like it or not. He has made United States history. And it is what it is. His story is not in vain. So if you just keep your comments, your negativity to yourself, because positivity will always prevail. And he is a living testimony to it. So a part of me be wanting to just do this. I'm getting screenshots or you know, I'll be ready to go in.
Right.
Then I was like, Mo, just chill out. You know how it was for me with Travion Blunt. Yeah. I felt that I had to protect him through that whole, you know, with the comments and everything. And it's just really sad, Chris. It's just really, really sad. And that's all I wanted to say about the haters, the negativity, and anything that you may have to say about this man you don't know. And you know, some things is just exaggerated on social media or in the news too. So allow him to tell his stories. This is his moment. Allow him to tell his story without judgment. And we're going to love and embrace our brother. And that is that.
That's it. That's it. We definitely want to speak on that. Shout out to everybody again that is positive and supporting. We want to illustrate that as great as this story is, everybody doesn't always see it that way. But we should all agree on one thing, and we want people to be better, or we want positive endings, or we want positive change. We want growth, and this is what this story is about. I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest up here so he can introduce himself, you know, out of his own words. Without further ado, Marcus, how you doing? Oh, you still on? Unmute you. There you go. How you doing, sir?
I'm great.
Hey, Marcus, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. It's good to see you.
Same here. But before I go any further, I gotta shout somebody out, and I'm asking God at the same time as I'm saying this. I'm gonna give reverence to a person before I give reverence to God, and the person is my nephew, Jaden. He wrote this for me, Cultivator. And nice. I told him I was gonna shout him out.
It's too quick.
Oh, hold on. Let me get the.
Hold on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, gotta give my guy some shine, man.
That's right. As you said,
for 7 p.m. So I don't even know if he know how to see it on the watch, but he been waiting for it. So I told him I was gonna show him some love.
He's gonna love that. I love it.
We're gonna replay it. We're gonna make sure he sees it. And that shirt's hard. I ain't gonna lie.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is.
Man. Marcus, go ahead, introduce yourself, man. Let people know who you are. The title is from a sale to Yale, you know, but that's not the beginning and the ending. You know, that's just the middle piece. You know, but just, you know, introduce yourself, let people know, you know, anything they might, you know, you want them to know about you, etc., man.
Well, my name is Marcus Terrell Harvin. And I guess the first thing I should say about myself is that I'm a child of God, unashamedly a child of God.
That's right.
And also at the same time, I'm the child of Marcus and Stephanie, and the father of 2 beautiful daughters, whose names I will keep from, you know, off this show right now, because enough people have tried to make comments about my kids that don't know anything about my kids. If they know one thing about my children, and they got it from my grandmother, Sally Mae Harvin. I got to give reverence to her in her bodily absence on this earth. But they are strong. My children are resilient. My daughter that was injured, that was actually injured, we can go all the way there. The baby, who I was charged with the injury for, was bowling while I was on trial for that very injury with the same arm that was injured. So the people that try to that create these narratives need to actually familiarize themselves with the truth.
I'm going to stop you here and there because I want to help make sure people understand is that what were some of the narratives? Now you just said she was bowling same arm. What were some of the narratives out there at the time? And tell everybody the actual situation so they can know what's going on around it since you're going that way.
Well, the narrative that I seen, I don't pay attention to the negative comments,
right?
But I mean, because those people obviously are not doing much with their lives if they're worrying so much about my past life. But
right.
You know, I don't even know that guy that I used to be anymore. I'm so far from him. But the narrative was that some guy said my kids were still in the hospital. I mean, that'd be kind of fatal if they were still in the hospital from something in 2014. Now, that's not making light of what happened. I'm a man. I was born and raised to be accountable for what you did. Right. Now, if I didn't drive away that day, maybe what happened would not have happened. But I'm not going to take blame for things that I did, and I never did it in a court, and I'm not going to do it on behind the camera. Right. My ignorance in that moment, not my ignorance as a person, but my ignorance in that very moment almost caused the death of my children. Almost is the key word. God's grace saved the three of us. So that's where I'm going to leave that. And for the people that are hating, my mom gave me a gift when I first came home. It's this necklace. She gave me two gifts. This necklace, this was what was on my grandmother when she went to the hospital and never returned home. And she gave me my grandmother's Bible. But the reason why I reference my grandmother's Bible is because my grandmother is the one that pointed my family to faith. But in my grandmother's Bible, in Psalm 23, it tells me that my heavenly Father will prepare a table before me in the presence of those people who create narratives that are not the truth. So they can watch me enjoy the table that God prepared for me. I'm going to enjoy it humbly, but I'm also not going to be ashamed about enjoying it neither. And at the same time, I'm going to let people know that I'm only enjoying it because of God. And if they get on the right side of things, they too can enjoy it. I want to be brothers with the people who say bad things.
Right.
Because I don't think that there's such thing called a bad person. I think people have a misunderstanding with good. And that's what the issue is. Everyone feels righteous in their cause. And I believe if we sit down and come together, even though people who say stuff about me, we'll find out that we're more like each other than we are.
Have more in common, right? Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation earlier. I shouted out Brother Willie at the top of the hour, and he said, in so many words, you can't blame people. A lot of times they've been conditioned a certain way. So we should always have compassion in our hearts. And I get what you're saying. And basically, you're in a situation, it involves a vehicle, you and your children, incident occurs, you just spoke to the injury, you spoke to all that, the false narratives, the reality of the situation. I want to touch briefly on the fact you end up incarcerated. You know, what do you want to tell people about your experience of incarceration, or, you know, is there something you want to share specific about that? What do you want to know people? What do you want people to know about that part of your journey? Because you said something I just heard, and Mo, you chime in he said, I don't even know that old person anymore. I don't even know. You know what I'm saying?
And none of us should be identifying with the old us. But the reality is the old us will always create this great us. I know Chris' story. I've never been incarcerated, but I have a past too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no, you cannot point fingers and condemn the next brother. And what you said, Marcus, was so eloquent. It was just so on point what you said. Sometimes if you sit down and ask questions, you'll get a better understanding of that said person or that said situation, instead of just ranting and being upset because, you know, people feel like you're getting a free ride while they're busting their butts trying to get to Yale.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation though, right?
Yeah, most
But
definitely.
what I wanted to say to that, what I want to add on also is that I feel like you've suffered enough. And I'm pretty sure you think about this every day. And giving thanks that, you know, your babies are here, that you're here and everything. And clearly, you know, God has a great path for you. I see nothing but great things, a great path for you. And keep telling your story. Nobody can take away your greatness. Not one person on this earth. So I want you to remember that. So I do have a question. So how were you guys selected? I think it was 5 or 6 of you, right? How were you selected for this initiative program? Did they just come? Did you have to fill out paperwork? Were you picked by the warden? Like, what was it? How did that happen?
Well, I'm pretty sure the warden would not have picked anybody for a program like that. I'm pretty sure Zelda, Vanessa, and everybody else at YPEI had problems every time they came into that building. But I want to go back and address what Life had. He had asked about incarceration first. And I want everybody to know unequivocally that I am not ashamed of the fact that I spent time in a penitentiary, because I met some of the best people I ever met in my life in that place. And one thing I need to say before I speak anything about myself is I need to speak about those guys behind the wall. You know this, Life. That is a warehouse of brilliance, and it's just dusted.
Geniuses, doctors, scientists,
exactly.
Everything.
The best artists you've ever seen, some of the best musical artists you've ever heard,
engineers,
some of the most funniest people, some of the most inventive people. Yeah. They make Thanksgiving meals out of chips.
Yes.
If you see some of the stuff, like I had a
circles around you with some chips.
I told on a pod one time, and it was my birthday week, and they made me this birthday cake out of what they had, the Snickers, the honey buns, and all that stuff, and it was the best dessert ever. And I was like, you know, I'm a crybaby, so I was. It meant so much to me. But to your point, yes, they can cook. We have chefs out here now that did 22 years as out here making a lot of money. So yeah.
But they teach you a lesson, right? They use what they have, right, in that very moment to get what they desire. Like you wanna enjoy life. Like the thing about it is, when you go back there, when you go in there, life kind of it pauses, but it doesn't at the same time. You have the most time on this universe to better yourself. Like you never get that much time to do that. And there is actually a lot of people in there doing that. And even for those who aren't, that's their prerogative. There's people in the free world that's not doing anything good with themselves. And this is the thing that I always would caution every single person, every person listening and every person that has something to say, right? That doesn't listen to anybody, is that if the judge that sentenced each of us got caught for the worst thing they did, they'd be in jail too.
Yep.
The Bible literally says that all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Yep. No one is not, you know, to be that to be attached to. You're not above reproach when it comes to that things. Those things. We're all imperfect. But one thing is, no matter what, prisoner or free, we're all people. So I don't think like I have a problem with labels like inmate, prisoner. It's just a person that's imprisoned. I've had arguments with people that I had much love and respect for. I still love them, but maybe the argument might have brought respect down, because the minute you start to adopt these labels that oppressors put on your people, when you start using those, now you have given the oppressor the decade off, or maybe the century off, because we become the oppressor. Envy not the oppressor is what the Bible says. And it seems like people in church, or people in your family, or people in your community, or within the bodies, right, that we belong to, seem to be the ones that judge you the most. Or
I've been talking about this all day.
Like, I don't have to worry about finding haters. I know them already. And
Yeah. Well,
I don't worry about the people I don't know. They don't know
Yeah.
me. But the people that know me and still judge me, you know better. But if you don't, I'm gonna show you better. So that's what humbly but I'm gonna show you. But when let me tell you briefly, my incarceration, I could sum it up with two names, Jonah and Joseph. I ran from my calling, right? And because of it, my kids almost had to fully suffer because of that. Just like those innocent people on that vessel that Jonah ran onto. Me, my Nineveh was 1153 East Street South, Suffield, Connecticut, 06080. That's McDougal's address. That was my Nineveh. And God honed the gifts that he gave me so much in that place that I don't even regret going to prison. And that sounds crazy. Now, and Joseph, because of the favor that I had in there, I was allowed by the people in there to speak into their lives. And even the administration would allow me to do such things. And I actually used to help keep some issues quelled because of the favor that God gave me in there. When I could even say, Daniel, you go into the lion's den, and I came out, I have no bites on me. Right. God shut the mouths of the lions, and actually I was able to make friends of them and realize that they aren't lions, they're actually men. You know what I'm saying? So it became an experience for me, and I need to get a little bit churchy for a second. I need to explain one thing. In the book of Ezekiel, before he was allowed to speak to the people, God made him dwell amongst the people that he spoke to before he could open up his mouth. Before God would use me to help oppressed people, I had to be an oppressed person. Not that I grew up in prosperity, because I grew up in what we know to be poverty, but we didn't know that at that time. Right. However, I never would have wanted to be a criminal defense lawyer if I never got denied a criminal defense lawyer. I never would have been advocating for prison if I did not suffer the pangs of prison, if I did not see my own breath in the winter when I was in a cell. So this is why now I look at it more as a gift than a curse. In my grandmother's Bible, just let me reference it one more time. In Romans 8:28, it says that God would take that mess and make it beautiful. He'd make a miracle out of it. He'd make all things work together for my good. I know that I love God, and I know that God is the truth. So I see it happening in my life right now. And
beautiful.
I never thought that I would say that I don't appreciate prison, but I appreciate the processes that took place within this person when I was in prison.
Yeah. I think people ask me, why am I at peace with the fact I did 16 years, 11 months. I'm at peace because I got a great life. And I don't know if I would have ended up here, and I can relate to you. I'm not able to touch people if I've never walked their path. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. But I think also to what you spoke on, when we start to understand it, I thought about Paul. I thought about how when he got locked up, he got persecuted, it worked for the betterment. It pushed the story out there, his message out there. So I just think about when we get that part, when whether the individual's incarcerated now. I know everybody watches this show, but whether you're incarcerated or maybe you still see yourself as incarcerated, you could be free and still see yourself. When he just spoke about when you take the title of something that somebody else gave you, and you don't even, you deny yourself of who you are. What we're telling you is it's a lie. It's not true. Ignore it. The brother right here, he's showing you through his walk, most humble way, hey man, there's no excuses, and what they telling you is a lie. When you can be in the belly of the beast, or what you said, we'll say the furnace. We go to Bible, we'll go back, and you come out that thing, you don't even smell like smoke, and you were surrounded by fire. And one of the greatest compliments, and I'm sure you heard this too, Marcus, and if not, you will hear, is when I do tell people, because I don't, when it does come about, I was incarcerated. I'm the same way. They don't even believe me, and if you haven't heard that yet, I know you will, and. Thankful for the haters. To anybody that's been hearing them talk about the haters and the negative aspect, this is how you know you're moving in the right direction.
And it's clear that, God has a hold on you, Marcus. It's very clear. That is very clear. As you were talking, I said, I just seen pastor. I just seen pastor. I just seen pastor because you really just went in, and I got chills. Some of the things you were saying, I got chills. So continue to do what you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing. So give us a little. Okay, so you graduated. You went back to the prison and had the graduation in the prison, right? Because you've been home, but about a year, a little less than a year, right?
13 months now.
13 months. And then you went back into prison to graduate along with the other brothers. And those are the pictures that we actually seen, correct?
Yep.
And so that was from New Haven. Just correct me if I'm wrong. It was New Haven.
It was the University of New Haven prison program and the Yale Prison Education Initiative. It's a collaboration. The degree comes from the University of New Haven, but the credits come from Yale and the University of New Haven. So we have transcripts from Yale College, and then we have transcripts from the University of New Haven. So that for me, and like this that has never happened in the state of Connecticut, where they allowed someone to go back into a prison while on parole and graduate. They hardly even wanted people to get a book in prison.
Right.
You know that, like they try to make excuses if it's used, if it's something, if it looked like it's so to allow me on parole to come into that prison and shake the hands with some of the people that used to tell me to go in a cell. Maybe not disrespectfully, but they still did it because that was their job. Now, to be able to go in there and go back where I was strip searched at. I don't know if you've seen that on Facebook. This is what history is, right? We go look for books, right? Why are we not creating the books right now? Like somebody needs to hear about life going from doing 16 years in prison to becoming a principal. Somebody needs to hear these type of things, right? But this is the beautiful thing. This was where it really became like surreal for me, where I literally used to have to get naked for a stranger after seeing my loved ones. I was shaking hands with the governor, and the governor was telling me things about myself. I didn't even know this guy knew I existed.
He was paying attention.
Exactly. That's how God works. The place of your humiliation, God will cause honor to come up out of that place. And that's what I seen right there. And those guys were still in prison that were on the side of me, and they were still being honored by someone that has the highest office in this state. That's what programs like that do, but that's more so what God does. And that, like, I can't shake that. Like, I wake up every day and I can't stop wiping tears from my eyes because to know that God chose to allow me to do that. Like, somebody else took a course in prison before. You know, I'm not the first person. But
tell everybody real quick. I want to stop you really quick because because I'm curious as I don't know. What's the major? What was the pathway like? What was going on? Like, were you taking classes? People want to know how were you going to college while you were incarcerated. So everybody doesn't know. I was able to go to I got John Tyler Community College transcripts. I ain't got no Yale transcripts.
Yeah, let me tell you.
But them big boy transcripts right there.
Yeah, man. I sometimes look at them and pat myself on the back.
Hey, how you doing? But what was it like going to college for anybody that may not understand that process, why you were incarcerated, and what did you major in, or what were you studying?
What I'm gonna go back to 2006 real quick, right? That's when I went to college the first time. I don't know. I'm only like 25, but somehow I was in college in 2006. Maybe I was like 8 years old and I was a genius. It's a joke. But no, I went to school for 2 years. I got kicked out of Eastern Connecticut State University in like 2008. I'm pretty sure my mother is still not proud of me, but hopefully today she is.
Shout out to your mom. She's up here. Loving her baby.
Yeah, of course.
I see her somewhere. Stephanie. Hold on. I'm so proud of my son.
Yeah.
I had to back up real quick.
But so I went to school in Eastern. I had a 1.7 GPA when I got kicked out. I swore school off. I started doing good in sales, so I was all right. Then I lost my job in sales when the case happened because it was too publicized. And when I went to prison, I seen that, you know, they were offering courses and stuff like that from different programs. But I'm like, man, I'm not taking none of those programs. It's probably watered down. So what I started doing was independently studying myself, and I became a paralegal when I was in prison. I took a paralegal course with Blackstone Career Institute, which is one of the only accredited ones that you can get in prison. So I got that,
and I got the states too. Yeah. Shout out to Blackstone.
I got like 5 graduate certificates from there too. So while I was doing that, Yale came back. The first time I applied to Yale, I didn't even get in it. They had 12 slots for 600 applicants, and they had lost my application. So the second time I felt offended, I'm not even gonna lie, and I didn't even apply. But then the third time, it was around the time my grandma, her health was declining, and I talked to her and my mother about it, and my grandmother said, "You need to do it because you need to go back to school." She seen me help people favorably in prison. I had a cellmate who had 55 years when he became my cellmate. He comes home in like 2 months. By the grace of God, God taught me how to, you know, understand the law, and I helped him. And the things that I helped him with, he gave to his in a public defender appellate lawyer, and won his appeal on direct appeal on murder. So when my grandmother started seeing stuff like that, she's like, "You need to go back to school and become a lawyer." So I said, "All right, I'm gonna do it." I made the promise to her, and then she died right before she died 4 months before the interview. So I had a necklace on with her picture. I kissed it and I said, "Yo, we gonna go do this." Went up there, did the interview. I got in it, man. Yeah. And now I'm happy to say I graduated from, I graduated with my associates. Now I got a 3.8 GPA. I made the dean's list. So now I take life much more serious, and I'll caution any person that's 18 years old or younger, just listen to me. You could get that 3.8 now. Don't go through the 1.7 stage. I could tell you. And more than any other preacher that you might hear, I could tell you about the grace of God. I done sinned so much. I'm still here, and God's still blessing me. So I could tell you about the grace of God. I could tell you that if you slip and fall, God is able to pick you up, or he won't even let you fall. You might think you fell, but God just had another plan. You know what I'm saying? That might be the potter's wheel where he's reworking it. Yeah. And I was going in my own direction, but obviously this is where he wanted me to be. And I'm just riding it out now. But
you ain't riding, you just getting started, brother.
Man, listen, I was about to say the same thing. You're just getting started, brother. So, like your mom just said, my son is so powerful. He has an anointing on his life, and he does. We can see it, we can feel it, we can hear it. We give thanks for you. So can we backtrack a little bit? All right. Walk us through the process, if you want to. Walk us through the process when those cuffs went on you and you went into the jail. They took you into the jail and then told you the charges, and what was you feeling? Because I know they had to arrest you on the spot, and they had to take the girls to the hospital and stuff, right? What were you feeling? What were you thinking when you got to the jail?
Nah, I actually didn't go to jail until like 2 weeks after. And my mom got me out before it hit another day. She bonded me out. What happened was, I'm probably one of the only people you'll ever hear this from. And I don't know how it's legal, but it is what it is. They raised my bond like 3 or 4 times, and I did not violate any conditions of my bail. When at my arraignment, the judge said my bail was too low. He made a mistake, so he made my family have to post 2 bonds for no reason. So
it went up to $1 million, right?
It went all the way up to $1 million from 25,000.
Yeah.
So when I was sitting in there, I was mad. Like I'm like, yo, how do they do something like this? Right. But my mom ended up coming. But when I went to prison on March 3rd, 2016, that's when it started my prison term. When I went that day, when they shut that door, I said, man, this can't be life. And I said to myself, yo, you are going to do everything in your power and beyond to prove to these people that you're not who these people said you were. And these people that I'm referring to is everybody in the world is going to know that Marcus is not what you would see if you look up that criminal complaint. If we judge people on snapshots, everybody's a bad person. If we judge people on snapshots, everybody's worthy of a felony conviction or life in prison in the court of public opinion. But that's the problem. We don't live in snapshots. That moment was the worst moment of my life. I guarantee you won't hear anything like that again. And I can guarantee you that about plenty other people.
Right.
But what I felt in that moment when that door shut was, this is not my life. This is not for me. Like, my parents did not put me on this earth for this. God did not create me to do this. But what I did was, what God gave me, I used when I was in there. That same night, the cellie they gave me was going through something, some sort of mental health something. Got on my knees and prayed with this guy about what he was going through. I forgot about what I was going through. This is how my faith works, is that when you work for somebody, God works for you. And God can do more for me than I could do for that person. The Bible says that he who gives to the poor lends to the Lord, and he'll repay him. So that's what I made my business was to do, was to help people that could go home, and to help people that were down be up, and to just pour into people and to push education, because education is liberation. Like, education is the greatest form of liberation. Education is literally a key to open any cell door, because if you educate yourself, you will know what's right and what's wrong, and what which ways of.
Don't I say that's one of the first, when I'm in the prisons teaching, I tell the guys all the time, the sisters all the time, self-education is the best education, and you cannot go out these doors without self-education and pouring into yourself. But let me say this. So you guys sentenced to, it was 14 years originally?
It was 23 years suspended after 14 years.
But you did 6, correct?
Yep, 6 years and 2 months.
You did 6 years. So the rest was suspended.
Nah, let me tell. That's what I need to tell. That's the crazy thing. Let me show you. This is how miraculous it is. I got denied on every single appeal possible. My mom called everybody to the point where the head public defender in Connecticut for the appellate division came to visit me herself and tried to give me a really good attorney, and it just would not work. Every appeal, habeas, everything shut down when the lawyers are really confident that I have a strong case. It just wasn't meant. My case literally went for sentence modification, and I have to shout out Alex Tobbs from New Haven.
Yes,
who represented me pro bono because he believed in me. My mom couldn't get money for me to represent me because people didn't want my case. It had stuff that made them uneasy about it. But he believed in me, and I went in front of the same judge who gave me all that time, and she took her own time back. So she literally gave me a sentence modification and told me to, through Zoom, that she was proud of me. So that meant a lot to me. The lady at the parole board, when I went for my parole hearing, told me that she believed, and so did the judge, that they believed that I would accomplish more than I even thought. So to hear that from people who are supposed to be against you, it could be nothing but God. And you got to, faith without works is dead. So you have to put the work in. Mm-hmm. And the work you put in, you have to entrust to God, that God is going to bring favorable results. But I did it. I put the work in, and I determined that I wasn't going to be it. And then she seen that I wasn't it. And you have to prove good cause to get a sentence modification. Right. And she herself said everything I accomplished in prison was good cause. And she was most impressed at the fact that I did not get in any trouble. I mentored people, and Yale. Let's not leave out the elephant in the room. Yale is always gonna get it.
Again, if I was you, I'd be walking around with a Yale hat, and I graduated. That's just me. That's just me.
Nah, I do something different than that, man. I do this.
Fire.
Yeah, that's like a black card right there. But I got that through this, so I do that.
That's fire.
Yeah.
You got them both hand in hand.
Oh, no, I got another one too, man. Don't shortchange your boy, man. I got that one.
Hey, have them all.
Okay.
Yeah, keep them all together, man. Because you can't have one without the other.
Without the other.
Right. Came without prison.
How important is it for the brothers and sisters that are or were incarcerated to do what you said, to make the decision early or right away? Because you said something a little bit further back. They don't have to learn through their own trial. They can learn from yours. A quote is a smart man learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. You know, so we're hearing obviously somebody that's been through it. You have wisdom. You've lived experience. What are some things like to encourage the individual that you would say to somebody that says, "Man, I got 12 years. Why should I be positive? Why should I do this now?" Or what do you say to the individual that said maybe they feel like they got locked up and they got a bad rap? They shouldn't be locked up. It was a messed up situation. But what do you say to encourage them? Because you said some pretty powerful words about lifting people up when you were at your lowest.
No, certainly. The one thing I do, right, is I try, and it's not really, I don't even really have to try. I think it just comes with how God made me. Everything the majority of people see as a negative, I easily flip that thing to a positive, because these things are called correctional institutions, right? So the purpose of it is supposed to make better the person that comes in there. You do get the time to become better. You just have to make good use of that time. So what I'll do is, listen, you got to be here anyways. So you might as well make the best of the time that you're doing anyways. Why sit around and mope all day when you can make tomorrow better, right? Or you can make it that a judge could say, hey, we made a mistake. This guy, look at him. Look at all the things he's accomplished. But if you give yourself nothing to present, you give them nothing to work with you with. So my thing is, make the best of it. And this is just how I would minister to someone in prison who would think themselves to be an atheist or whatever, however it may be. You're going through life by yourself right now, and it's difficult, right? It is not going to get any worse if God gets on the scene. The Bible literally says, come taste and see that the Lord is good. God's going to prove to you that life will be better with him. And I can prove to you that life will be better if you educate yourself. Just look at my life. Just literally look at my life. And I literally look at the felony convictions that I have and that you have life. Those are the biggest assets you have. You will never slack one day in your life, because you know everything you have, they will try to take it away from you if they can. They want to disqualify you. So if you know that, you got to do everything to keep yourself overqualified. And I think that's what incarceration does. It births some ambition within this person that the average person doesn't have to have. You don't have to work extra hard to get a job when you don't have felonies. You have to be exceptional when you have these things against you. So what that does is, all it does is awaken the exceptional gene within every willing individual. Everybody is exceptional in their own way. But the person who uses that time to better themselves, it gets awakened in them. The greater is he that is in me power, that the Bible talks about. You've discovered it. Look at you. There's plenty other people. Like I always caution people, I am not an anomaly. I'm an example. There's plenty other people. Anybody, the most unmotivated person right now, if they spoke to a person that could prove it, they would do it.
That's the difference.
Bro, you better... You are a pastor, okay?
Hey, I needed this.
I'm serious. Like,
I needed this today.
He's very ordained. Like, man, look. And just real quick, before we move on, I want to give a love to Life, because Life did almost 17 years. Shout out to his beautiful wife, April. They now own a school, Marcus, and he is the principal of the school.
We got to talk, man. That's one of my plans, man.
He's the principal. And look, let me tell you, I see what you're doing with the bikes and everything, and it made me think about Life. And y'all two can talk behind the scenes or whatever, but he's now principal of the school. They had just had a beautiful graduation ceremony.
25 graduates. I got to shout out. We broke it. We came back. First graduation was 11, second 14. We came back stronger. I got to shout out. We got the most fire students. Our students.
Yeah, and I mean, he started this podcast. He's prison reform activist. Like, he does so many wonderful things. And sometimes I'll be like, "You chilling today, bro? You good? Like, you know. Sometimes you gotta slow down a little bit." But I get
Marcus. You know I understand. I got a second chance. I'm not supposed to be here.
Exactly.
According to popular opinion or whatever. So yeah.
Because he had over 100 years. His sentence was 100 years, over 100 years, and they suspended how much?
I got sentenced to 144 years. They suspended all but 19.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of similarities, Marcus. I was able to mentor and speak to colleges, and I was helping people get free. I couldn't get home, but I was helping some brothers get home. I got the parole board in St. Bride's for the first time in history, which some would say open, so we got a lot. So we definitely going to chop it up.
I don't want to, what you said, right? I got to say this. The reason why you couldn't get free is because you were already free. You just didn't have liberty. Man, it's a difference. You know what I'm saying? You were already free.
Man, I was blessed that whole way through, man. We gonna chop it up because this isn't about me, but when you were saying certain things, I felt you, bro.
Y'all remind me of each other so much. So it's like, Marcus.
I was just sitting here just quiet, like.
You family. So whenever y'all talk behind the scenes, like the similarities from day one, I was like, if this is not divine intervention, if this is not supposed to happen, if not, well, Marcus, I ain't going nowhere. I'm big sister, so
definitely.
And definitely you got to connect with him because his story is incredible. Like I said, I met him in the prison. We actually meet him in Freddie Williams, another great, phenomenal brother that came home. Him and life are very, very close. We had started relationship seminars in the prison, and now I'm booked everywhere for relationship seminars, all the way from North Carolina all the way up to New York. And, I give so much thanks to him because he is a teacher. Life is a teacher. He's definitely a teacher, as you are. I'm looking at some of the comments, and it's just so beautiful. People can feel your energy. You can feel your energy.
I needed to see one of my comrades. Right? If I'm gonna be transparent, right? And this is not a knock, but there's levels to this. In life, there's levels to success. There's levels to grow. Certain people don't go certain places, and I like to look over and see somebody that chose to go somewhere. I needed some motivation. So thank you. Mo was just speaking about everything. She put me on the spot. I hate being put on the spot, but thank you.
Well, you talk to me all the time.
I know. I get it, right? But that's big sis.
I gotta get flowers. Definitely.
Thank you. I don't know. I gotta learn to accept. That's one of the things I gotta work on. Being able to accept.
Right. Go ahead. You got a question?
I was just gonna say I wanted to know what are some of the things you got, because you just spoke on the bike thing. We spoke on prior to this ministry. Just what are some of the things that you got going on that you working on? Because we spoke about the before, we spoke about the during, we spoke about the accomplishment with Yale. What's going on right now? You've been home 13 months. What are some of the things you're working on? What do people need to know about current day?
Well, over the past 13 months, we know that number one, I graduated with my associates. I also am a fellow. I have 3 fellowships right now. I have a fellowship at Yale Law School and their Access to Law School program, where it's like a rigorous 2-year, but for me it's 3 years because I can't apply until next year. But it's a rigorous program where they pretty much train you like you're in law school to be successful and to get into the top tier law school. Let me show you. I got notes from like a couple weeks ago on my UConn School of Law notepad. We went for a presentation for them. I'm also a fellow at Yale College, where last semester I co-taught a credited undergraduate class with Zelda Rowland. But the most fire part about it is I had no college degree, not even an associate's.
Hey,
and
even
then
more fire, more fire
at UNH as well. I'm a President's Public Service Fellow this summer, working with neighborhood housing services in New Haven, doing actually community revitalization work, which I know God called me to do anyways in my community I grew up in. So it's everything. God is just giving me these connections and these resources to do the work that he's called me to do. And I'm just doing it. I'm just acting in obedience. But I also became Yale School of Medicine certified peer support mentor for people who are attempting to overcome addiction. I'm now working as a community health worker intern at a clinic that Yale University is associated with. And the beautiful thing about all of these things, none of those fellowships have anything to do with anything. I never try to use one to get the other one. I just literally go in there and this is what my plans are. These are what my goals are. And this is what I need to do. I don't want to be a lawyer. I need to be a lawyer. I have to be a lawyer.
Oh, now.
I know I have to. And I can't, all of these things are not plans. These are mandates. I have to do these things. The world needs these things to be done. The world needs people like the three of us. And I always tell everybody close to me, the world needs to be changed. And I don't trust too many people to do it. So I'm going to do 1.5 million things if I have to. I'll sleep for 15 minutes a day for 15 years just to know that when I leave this earth, it's better than it was when I came here. Just to know when I leave this earth, it's better than it was when I got out of prison. And just to know that that prison is better than it was when I left it, when I got there. So just to know that every environment that we go into, we should permeate with whatever is inside of us. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going around and I'm spreading what God placed in me. And
you're about to get me all teary-eyed here.
Who is Diamond Lachey put the Marcus Harvin experience?
Yeah, that's some young lady I know.
We got a hashtag.
I like that. Hashtag the Marcus Harvin experience. That's dope. Let's put that on a t-shirt too. Yeah. Are we writing this down?
Everything is a t-shirt. Everything.
So the day that you were released, right? Clearly, I'm sure your family was there waiting on you. Give us, what was that like when you were walking out the door and when you hit freedom and when you seen mom, sister, brother, whoever was there, your daughters, whoever was there? Walk us through that.
If I put a video to the screen, you should be able to see it. I can't tell you. That's the most beautiful moment that ever happened. I'm gonna show you. I almost got tackled by my oldest sister.
Oh,
and she got a record. So, and we was outside of a prison. If I'd have told the police, she'd have went in.
Came home, she was going in.
Yeah, I'm almost sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my brother finally home.
That's my mom right there. That's the most beautiful moment ever.
Mama ain't gonna let you go.
No.
Not at all, man.
That is incredible. Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's the best way to tell you.
Yeah. Did your daughters come visit you?
Nah, they didn't come there, but I got another cool biblical reference too. My family came, they bought me some new clothes. You see them baggy jeans, please forgive me. Them jeans that was probably a crime, but they gave me new clothes. And like, remember when Lazarus came out the grave, Jesus commanded that they took the grave clothes off of him. So I took those clothes off that they gave me in that prison. My sister went to the closest dumpster. She didn't want me touching them and threw them away. And that's what I did with those convictions. That's what I did with those negative opinions. That's what I did with not forgiving myself. I threw it away. And I caution everybody else to do that because the Bible says if you receive Christ, you're new. I'm not that dude no more. So
wait.
Whew, wow. I wanted to shout out your attorney, Alex Tobes. That's what's his name?
Alex Tobbs. Yep.
Tobbs. I'm sorry. I wanted to shout him out. I know you were on NBC today with Joe Fry from NBC News, right? Mm-hmm. NBC News Now.
Yep.
So that's a huge deal. And then you had another interview, a Zoom interview with the reporter from Yahoo International.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you, expect more. We're honored to have you up here. Seriously, we are really honored to have you on our show. And I do want to make an announcement to everybody that everybody on my side of the world in Virginia Beach, I live in Virginia Beach, by the beach, and everybody, I'm a public figure and all that stuff out here, whatever. But I created this award ceremony called the Reentry Awards, where I recognize those who were incarcerated, came home, and they're soaring and doing great. And it's a nice award ceremony. It's a banquet, and it's very emotional. You're going to have a lot of tears. I just had one honoring Black women a couple of months ago. I actually honored Life's Wife for being Educator of the Year. And so what I want to announce is both of these handsome men are going to be honored September 17th, save the date, here in Virginia Beach. Marcus will be receiving Returning Citizen of the Year, and we will make a real big deal out of it, of course, when he gets here. My events is always sold out. We're going to have officials there, the news. We're going to have everybody there. Life will be receiving the Principal of the Year. And it's special to me because, like I said, I know his story. I've been knowing Life for over 10 years. And that is my brother. My brother. And the fact that we now have a podcast together, when he was sitting in a cell and I was going in that prison, teaching, pouring into him, pouring into the other brothers as I do all the time. And to see him come home, and I'm sharing a platform with him, and our platform is doing great. And I love you, man. Seriously.
You too, sis.
You my brother.
Yeah, you my big. Hey, now I'm gonna say, hey, you more my big sis than my big. I put it all out anyway. You my big sis. And I'm so proud of both of y'all. I really am. I hope everybody gets a ticket. I hope everybody come out and show Marcus love, which I know you guys will. Because I have people in my inbox hitting me up, just, they're crying, or they're, Mo, you got an interview with him, or Mo, his story is incredible. And so just get ready to receive the love. And I'm so proud of you, Marcus.
Thank you.
All of your accomplishments, your God-fearing man, clearly. And I cannot wait to honor you. I cannot wait to hug you. I cannot wait to see that funky, fresh outfit you're going to wear.
Oh, you know
it. Gotta be fly.
I can't wait until you two officially meet in the physical.
Yeah.
Along with the other recipients. So we're going to have a great time. Again, September 17th, 4 p.m. at 757 Events Oceanfront. We'll be on the oceanfront on the beach. So, I'm looking forward to that. And I'll have all information out. I'll send y'all the links out so your families can get tickets before I actually put it out in public, because once I do that, I'm going to sell out fast like I usually do. But I just, Marcus, I'm just elated that you're on the show. So what I need you to do right now, I need you to shout out your Instagram, your Facebook. I don't know if you have Twitter. If you have Twitter, shout that out. Shout out your Cash App. Please donate to Marcus, the event that's coming up. It's called Bikes and Books, or what is it called? I'm sorry, Marcus.
It's a bike and book initiative, and it's a part of the Family Day event for the Unified Free Will Baptist churches Incorporated Young People Christian League. It's our convention. So it's a convention that's going to be taking place July 13th through 15th. And it's let me get the exact address real quick.
But even if it's $1, just if you can donate, because it's such a great initiative, a great organization, and what he's doing, and he's giving back.
Yeah, I'm the vice president of this organization, and they allowed me to be. They took me in the administration like nearly right after I came out of prison. Like, this is literally a denomination. This is a church. This is an organization that I would have to support. If they support people without looking down on them, and let's be honest, the traditional church people look down on the people who need Jesus when they needed Jesus, and they still do. But something like this, what we're literally doing, I told them when I started, what I want to do is use for a tagline is we want to cultivate conquerors. The Bible talks about us being more than conquerors in Christ Jesus. So if we can teach that to children at young ages, what could they be when they get our age? And I tell you one thing, they won't go to where we had to go life to become who we are today.
That's it.
Because the things we learned, we'll teach them. But it's at 47 Beaver Avenue in Edison, New Jersey, and that's at Mount Zion Unified Free Will Baptist Church.
We're gonna. I'm gonna repost the flyer because I actually downloaded it. Shout out to Diamond Lachey. She put up your Cash App is
that's the one for the bikes and books. Yeah.
Like I said, $1 help. Look, it's a great program. So I don't never ask for anything. So I am asking if everyone can donate something to the movement and to what he's got going on. And it's right here in the comments. Diamond just put it up. So what my thought was with that was that we want to promote holistic health, right? You want a person to be spiritually healthy, mentally healthy, and physically healthy. So these things, books and bikes, right? Mm-hmm. Bikes is the physical part, books is the internal part. And the one thing is, in our communities, let's be honest, books are scarce as far as being read. Mm-hmm. Briefly, I was picking up trash at my elementary school recently, last month. And I found a lot of empty bottles, beer bottles, a lot of empty nip bottles. And the most disturbing thing I found was an empty reading log from an elementary school student. That means that these communities we came up in are plagued with emptiness. They need sustenance, and sustenance from the right sources. So this is what something like that will do. That's dope. That is really, really dope. And you said again, July 15th?
July
13th through 15th.
July 13th to 15th. That's the whole weekend.
Yeah.
That weekend.
What is your social media really quick? I'm not sure. I might have missed it.
No, he didn't plug it.
My Instagram is Marky McFly 23. I don't have Twitter. But it's MarkyFly 23. MCFLY 23. And my Facebook is Marcus, Mariah, and me is Dad Harvin. Gotta shout my daughters out every time I do anything because they are literally the sole motivating factor behind all the motivation that I have. Everything that I do is for them and to undo the harm that their ears heard and their bodies might have felt. So that's what I gotta do. And to make my mother proud, I gotta always put a smile on Stephanie's face and to make Sally in heaven happy. And my other grandmother, I want to shout her out too, Jean. She's still with us here. And my pops, Marcus.
That's my mom named Jean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's final words, guys? Final words.
What's your final word, Marcus? And
life has said it, and it's that impossible is non-existent. It does not exist. Anything they told you can't do, they are not you. Just because they don't have it in them to accomplish it doesn't mean that you don't. And any expert doesn't know enough about what you want to do because it hasn't been done yet.
Facts. Yeah.
Wow. That was serious. Yes.
You got any closing words, Mo, or you want to leave it right there?
I don't even know what to say because this interview was awesome, and Marcus is incredible. I don't look. I'm a loss for words, and I'm a public speaker. Like I don't even know what to say. But just Marcus, if you need anything, let us know. I told you I sent out a couple of emails. And discuss behind the scenes. And everybody that's on the live on Facebook, I see the Facebook is popping. I see, YouTube, the chat and all of that stuff. You reach out to Marcus, friend him, ask him if he need help in anything. It could be a flyer, it could be a promo flyer, it could be anything. And continue to pour in him, because guess what? I know we all need each other at the end of the day. I need y'all. Y'all need me. We all need each other. It's days I'm not going to be good. It's days that Marcus is not going to be good. It's days that life is not going to be good. And that's the reality of it, because we're human. And just pour into one another. Don't forget one another. And as he stated earlier, as Marcus stated earlier, nobody can write the script for your life, pretty much. You are the author and you hold that pen. So he didn't say that exactly. I'm just freestyling from what he said. But that's about it for me. We thank you and we love you.
Let me say one last thing.
Go on.
The narratives that they wrote against you, erase it and rewrite your narrative in permanent marker. They won't be able to.
There you go. What you got, like?
Yeah. That's a shirt. That's a t-shirt. That's t-shirt. We got 4
You might write all of this down and give it to
you. Everything is merch. I be trying to tell people everything is merch. I'm gonna get up here and I'm gonna show y'all how everything is merch. But sis, I'm always glad we up here. We'll be back up here again. Another new guest announcements coming soon. To Marcus, thank you for hopping up here, allowing us to be a part of the conversation and to platform your story, or to be a platform for it, at least a glimpse of your story. Definitely looking forward to networking with you and seeing what else. I'd love to. I keep talking about these panels up here. I mentioned them to Mo. I mentioned, man, I need to get people up here that want to be part of these panels. I need to, actually execute them. So if you want to get up here on a panel, because you're a Yale graduate, and I feel like you got some things to say, and speak on some other topics, we'd love to have you. And then I just want to say this to close. If Marcus held up a sign and told you impossible didn't exist, would you believe him? I don't know. He graduated from Yale. You tell me. Till next time, it's the Mo Life Show.